Well, welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast. We're recording live from HDI 15 in Las Vegas. So with me we've got Pat Bolger, who's joining us as a co-host today.
I am indeed.
You are indeed.
It's been a while since I've been on a podcast.
Yeah. So we're looking
There's
forward
probably
to
a
your
reason.
input today.
There's probably a reason for that. You're going to find out later on.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out. And our other co-host today is Carlos Casanova.
In person this time?
Yeah, in person, yes.
Now via the 3,000-mile road.
Yeah. And our first guest for this morning, or this afternoon, is Matt Hooper, who we're pleased to have on board.
A guest as a on the
Yes,
podcast.
yeah,
Wow.
it's a bit unusual for Matt to be a guest. He's usually the host.
I'm in the hot seat today.
Yeah. So you want to tell us a bit about how you're finding the conference so far, Matt?
Conference is good. I had the opportunity, was invited to come in for the forums that HDI offers. I wasn't really familiar with that. They have a higher ed forum, which was very interesting. The topic that I had a chance to speak on was the new emerging culture that's coming out of the higher ed growth plans for developing IT folks, bringing them into the help desk, first year response, and they're having a lot of challenges getting those people to sign up for the jobs.
All right.
They're looking at that as like, oh, I don't really want to do that IT stuff. We kind of hate IT. They're the ones who won't let me play with my PS4 in my dorm room, right? So, there's a bit of a challenge there. So we had a great session, and we talked about some of the cultural things that you need to do and establish how you are going to operate and communicate
Yeah.
to these folks and to these young ones, and say, listen, your skills as a technician are going to help you whether you're in accounting, legal, marketing, sales, wherever you're going to go. Want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to have some basic IT skills that are going to help fundamentally make you a better professional. And it was well received.
So they were well attended too?
It was very well. It was a sold out group actually.
Yeah.
They had other universities told me they wanted to be participants, but they couldn't get in because it was capped at a certain limit. It's very round table-ish.
Yeah.
So, there was 45 people
Yeah.
there or something like that. It was good. And it was interesting. I started it off and I asked them all, I said, do you find that you're more of an IT department where people come to you and you operate and you service, or do you think that you're more pervasive throughout the organization and you're more involved? And everybody, of course, said, we're pervasive and we're more involved. Then I did a little survey about, what kind of communications do you send out, and how many meetings do you hold, and who's there, and what kind of policies do you set, and who was involved with them, and
They weren't pervasive,
I
right?
had this whole ranking score, and they all, I said, okay, who scored really low in that you're more of a department? They all sheepishly raised their
Yeah.
hands, and, But higher ed, they're great folks, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them are exceptionally well skilled, and it is a subculture where they want to be there for a higher purpose, which is good.
Yeah, they've got a lot of unique challenges, with the government, a lot of, government-run schools and stuff like that. And there's certain things that their hands are tied. I've done work with them, and they want to do these things. And they're like, we want to get involved, and they just...
The budget and regulatory are big pressures for them, for sure. Yeah, so that was good. We kicked that off on Monday, and the session started up in full force really this morning. And I've hit a couple of them. I had an opportunity to go to Clever's, Phil Vargas's KCS and
Right.
data science presentation, and that was really good. The statistics they have around knowledge management, how quickly you can bring someone up to speed, and how much more availability of resources you can extend throughout your organization of knowledge workers. It's just, the business case is just so powerful that anybody who has said, we'll do knowledge next year should be fired, frankly. So,
Yep.
yeah. So good. So far, so good. Vendor session, the vendor booth area has been pretty well attended. I think the reception party was hopping last night. It was very, very good. A lot of
Yeah.
energy, which was good. This is rare for me to be at a conference and not be on the other side of the booth. So I actually went around and tried to have my things stamped.
Yeah?
And, so I got to be truthful. I found that a very unpleasant experience. Yeah. So I ended up just throwing out my stamp thing and just go get my free T-shirts. But we need to fix that. That should be digital, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be much easier if it was.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on for you, Matt?
So I've been spending a lot of time, working with some folks. I've been communicating a lot with John Willis and from the DevOps community and talking to some of the folks over there, working closely with ITSM Academy and what they're doing in DevOps. It is an exciting time for us right now here in the States. And I don't know how much DevOps is hitting the UK or Kiwis, but.
Yeah, I still find that people say, what is it?
There's still, the awareness factor is still
Yeah.
very low. But the measurable results that organizations are getting by streamlining the foundational principles of ITSM,
Yeah.
which is the big push, right? It's not DevOps versus ITSM. When we tease them about it, it's like, it's a Duke matchup.
Yeah.
But really what it is, it's streamlining those processes that fundamentally support ITSM down to the point where you're not having to go through so many levels of controls, that you're really building those levels of autonomy in there. And that is now, fundamentally changing the way organizations are bringing services to the market. And what I'm starting to hear more, which is very interesting, because I attend a lot of CIO events, and they would never say that, we're a technology company that provides financial services, we're a technology company that provides healthcare. I mean, we would talk about that on our podcasts,
Yes.
and that was kind of the futuristic thought. That has become the normal sounding board
Yeah.
at those organizations. And CIOs are saying that. In fact, James Dallas, who's a pretty famous CIO, he goes, I love shadow IT, as long as I'm casting the shadow.
Yeah.
I think they're embracing what's going on in the
Yes.
marketplace. So we're seeing some big changes for ITSM. I think that's going to affect vendors.
Yeah.
It's going to affect training providers. I think you're going to see an added pressure on organizations like Axelos and ISACA.
Yes.
So it's interesting times for those of us who've been in it and been, in the quagmire for some period of time.
Well, there's a huge amount of, certainly in the UK, there's a huge amount of interest and work going on with the DevOps community at the moment. I know Axelos have done quite a lot. So I don't know if you've heard the announcement, but they brought out a practitioner certification now, which the idea being you kind of, it's like driving a car. You learn to drive, you pass your driving test, then you do some driving, then you maybe can do some advanced driving.
Yeah,
This is the
commercial driver license.
Using the skills you've got and use them in the workplace. And there are huge elements of DevOps in there. There's huge elements of continual improvement. So all the things that are desperately missing and desperately needed with the practitioner community, and DevOps is a big part of play. But the other side of the coin is, we're looking at DevOps and thinking this is great and this is all fast and agile and all this. And the DevOps people are looking over and thinking we need some structure around this stuff. So it's time to two actually met up.
It's why they need to be blended, and that's what I'm speaking at Friday here at HDI is how you can take from queue management to ITSM to business service management and really leverage that into the business agility platform. Really focus on self-reliance, really thinking about ways the end users can do more. And capturing and leveraging the capabilities of IT. Automation's absolutely huge. Yeah. So it's good, fun stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. We can't become, this is the next one, a replacement of the old one. It's, we're still trying to solve the same problems that we've been trying to solve for years and years. And we've gotten caught up in the generations of just replacing one tag with another. And that's where,
The problem is, once you stick that label on it, you put it in a box, people think you can buy it. I can get some consulting, take it out of that box, apply it, and that's it. And the whole aspect of most of these things, DevOps in particular, it's a philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't buy a philosophy.
Yeah.
a lot of people try.
At the end of the day, it's all just demand management.
Yeah.
How work flows into IT and how things get done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, well, thanks for your time today, Matt. It's
Thank
been
you,
a
Kirsty.
pleasure having you here as a guest
It's
for a
always,
change.
it's always a rare
Yeah.
thing to see you, and great
Yeah,
to see you,
no.
Patrick, as well, too.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Luke.
Carlos,
you, Matt.
enjoy the
Yeah.
show. Thank you.
Thanks.